Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equity Story. I'm here with the Wolf, and
Woo!
uh,
Just a fat lady singing. Woo!
it's the fat lady singing. Well, Wolf, we'll have a look. Let's go. Let's have a look at these charts. So,
Gosh.
what we had at the end of last week, and I think this is why we're sort of putting generally the sell button and to get some cash was, you've seen the ASX starting to break trend, which, it's not a good look. So. Um, Certainly the momentum is coming out of the market, and then we saw the Dow as well on Friday start to break trend. So where from here, Wolf? And I think that's what everyone's sort of been writing emails in and saying, Dave. Um, and generally speaking, some really nice emails that we sort of did say to people that if we didn't dip or didn't go lower in October, often the market tends to then have a little bit of a hit January, February, which I think it's really what we're seeing. And I suppose the question is, Wolf, is how low can it go?
Oh, well,
And
I've got saying.
yeah, so when you're looking at the charts and like you said, you're looking at everything that's going on. I think we're going lower, but what we could see tonight in the States is a little bit of a bounce, right? Which is very normal when you've had a sort of a big fall. And we might have a little bit of bounce beginning of the week, and then we could sell off towards the end of the week, and maybe a bigger sell off in February. That's the general feeling I think it's going to be at the moment, Wolf. So um, certainly for short-term traders, absolute nightmare to try and trade in this market. But what it is an excellent market for if you've got some cash, and if you haven't got some cash, hopefully it's still not too late to get a bunch of cash on the side. It's an excellent market to possibly in February pick up some bargains, Wolf.
Yeah, absolutely. So, 100%, we talked about last week, the technicals are saying time to have some cash on the side. So that's what, really you should be looking at. How long that sell-off will last, we don't know. Maybe it is a quick, short, sharp, and, we're buying it back. But if we talked about it, what the sort of year ahead looks like, and you've got the interest rate rises, we've got the inflation, you've got the Ukraine Russia issue, so potentially, like you said, at least I think the end of January, February, we could see a bit of volatility. So yeah, look, you've got to be prepared, because there will be a point in time when we're going to see some really good bargains to be had to start buying them. And that's when we sort of pounce on these things. And this is why, being an active investor, you've got to take opportunities when you see them.
Wolf, I have to also say, and congratulate you, really. The large cap dividend plays are actually more or less flat, which it just shows why we were sort of interested in those sort of stories. And again, I suppose really those sort of returns they're giving, averaging around 7.5% gross. I suppose any weakness would just be an opportunity on them. But again, just look at those large cap dividend plays that have held up really well, and so have the shorter term, the smaller caps. So both NTDs a little bit down, but generally speaking, Wolf are holding up really well, and arguably if they're going lower, like something like NTD, maybe just an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, remember, the reason for this is there's twofold. Is the sell-off that we're happening, the rotational selling that's going on from the tech stocks to some of the value stocks. So if that sort of plays out over the next 12 months, you'd be looking at those dividend stocks, because they are not expensive, they are value, and they give you the dividends. So the other side of the coin is they should theoretically outperform the markets in a market like this. And you can see by the large portfolio today, they are outperforming the market quite comfortably. So yeah, definitely that's why we sort of moved and come up with those couple of top 10 lists.
All right, Wolf. I just want to go through the stocks today, and I don't think, obviously, in this market we're going to be trading or trending too much stuff. But let's start with SES, because this is a story that you do like.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you make of today's announcement?
First of all, look, I'm still happy that it's holding the trend. So it's one of the very few that it's not breaking. It's still holding, going sideward, which is okay for me in this market. And today's announcement sort of reiterates the growth story in another distributor that they've signed up. So potentially more shops they're going to have the products in. which potentially could mean more sales. I mean, that's all you can ask for. And obviously the products are pretty good because there is more interest in them. So holding for the moment.
S32 Wolf, which this is one of your preferred, obviously, resource stocks. What did you make of the announcement, and how do you explain the weakness on the announcement?
I think it was an excuse to sell off, but it's obviously bouncing already, right? So, look, it's normal. Look how far it was from the trend line. The market's really skittish at the moment. They're selling off. When you look at the numbers, their production numbers, they're okay. You know, most of what they've said they're going to hit, they have hit. The only negative in there, maybe that's what the market has got hang off, is the fact that there's still supply chain issues, which is, you know, problematic for not just S32, but probably a lot of companies still out there. But, you know, with time, I'd say that's going to be probably sort itself out over the next 6 to 12 months. But if you look at the production figures for next FY22, it looks decent. So you'd be buying. But the beauty about it is that commodity prices are going up and up still. So theoretically, you should still see a good performance out of S32. And they've got all the commodities that we sort of almost like, right? By default, they've got metallurgical coal, which is pretty good. They've got manganese, copper, nickel, and aluminium. So all those things that we think that are going to probably hold up quite well, because we've seen the warehousing stockpiles going down of those things. So we're happy. I think that's an opportunity to buy, I reckon. That's probably the one thing I'm thinking, I might grab a few.
All right, excellent. Wolf, DVP. Again, another stock still holding trend.
Yep.
What did you make of the announcement?
Look, it's just a regurgitation of what we've seen before. You know, remember the quarterlies for the mining stocks, unless they're producing, it's just recap what they've done, what their previous announcements were. So in this case, they're not producing anything. Recap. It will get slightly interested, DVP, when Bill Beeman finally gets some businesses that are actually producing cash. That's when we start getting interested in DVP. At the moment, we're just playing the man. So if you're in that, you hold. Otherwise, and you obviously hope for a juicy announcement in the near-term future. Otherwise, it's just I don't think there's going to be any excitement at this stage.
Wolf, Eagle had a bit of infill drilling, and but I mean, great drill results. 46.7 meters at 2.6, 2.16. It just shows what although it's infill, what a great mine, the potential they've got, and they got 15 meters at 4. I mean, those are stunning results.
Yeah, you can't argue with those results, can you? But infill, of course. So it's not as exciting if it was somewhere outside of the resource envelope.
WFA. You like this one now? Just tell the readers why it sort of interests you.
Yeah, look, I think it's sort of hit my radar recently on the back of the producer coming up with almost 300,000 ounces. I mean, that's significant, right? But it's the costs that are really attractive here. You're looking at 790 something AISC, which is the all-in sustaining costs, US. I mean, show me an Australian gold miner that's got those sort of numbers. You're probably going to struggle to find one, and especially the new guys, right, that are coming on board, that are touting the new mines. They're using 2,000 plus gold prices as in the assumptions. You think to yourself, hang on a second, this looks attractive on that premise.
And it's in Burkina Faso, which isn't too bad.
Yeah, the only, I suppose, negative, of course, is the jurisdiction it's in. West Africa, it's got definitely some inherent issues in there, but Burkina Faso is okay-ish. When you look at Africa, there's much worse places to go to. So as long as you can stomach the Burkina Faso, and you've had probably now 12, 18 months of production from WIF, and nothing's really happened. So you should be fairly more comfortable going in there if you're looking for a gold play.
All right, let's hope they're obviously not employing kids and whatever.
Exactly.
Hopefully an Australian company wouldn't, Wolf.
Well, hopefully they'll have a bit more, some morals and ethics, right?
Yeah, well, you hope so. FMG.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you make of their acquisition?
It's a progress report, isn't it, on them talking about moving into that renewables, electrification, moving down the path of the new revolution, isn't it, Dave? And that's moving away from the fossil fuels and everything else. Buying I think, engineering company
In
that's
the UK?
yeah, that is working on a battery storage system. So very interesting. Is it the first step of FMG moving down that path? You know, already they've picked up some ground for hydrogen and so on, but they've been actively talking about it. This is just the beginning, I think, maybe. So look, if you take the long-term view, and if they keep going down that path, I'd say within 5 years you might see a very different company, Dave.
It's interesting because this is to do with the old Frank Williams F1 racing team. Is
that? I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean,
must be high tech then. Must be high tech.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's so. You know, are we going to see Andrew Forrest like a green hydrogen Formula One racing car? I mean, is that going to be part of it? I don't know.
Is it? He's gonna racing cars instead.
Well, yeah, maybe do one with pedals or something. I don't know. But it's interesting.
It's interesting, definitely.
COV. So this is one of those dividend stocks holding up really well. Wolf, they had an announcement, but presentation, I think, from memory, but really just reiterating the company's growth and guidance, which was, again, I think, just helping hold the price up. Now,
just shows how good they are.
Now, VUL, you said to me, Dave, in Germany they're never going to get, or it's going to be very hard. Let's not say never.
It's going to be extremely difficult. Yes.
Very hard for them to get permissions.
Yep.
So they just bought a piece of land just outside Rome, right? So is this from the frying pan to the fire, or
it looks like? Can you imagine, right? 20 kilometers from Rome. So if they're going to have struggle somewhere, maybe in a rural part of a countryside somewhere, I think the Romans are probably going to have a say about, hey, what are you doing close to our home? So I don't know. It's less words to say the better, I think, Dave, in this case.
Well, anyways,
if they're going to struggle in Germany, which I think they will, then I think I've got no hope with 20 kilometers out of Rome.
Anyway, they're below the trend, so we're out of it's a sell, obviously. UWL up today, Wolf. One of the few stocks up 8-9%. What's going on there?
I think they announced today that they've had a number of approaches. What does a number of approaches mean? I don't know, but there's obviously some interest from third parties to look at acquiring UWL. So who could it be, Dave? ABB's already gone for OTW, right? Is there going to be like more mergers in this space? And look, it's been always a hotspot, hasn't it? We've seen so many mergers in this space. The smaller guys trying to get larger, acquiring others, and it's been playing over and over and over again, that sort of same record. So not surprising, but surprising after such a strong run to see it. Normally I expect it after a bit of a fall.
Wolf, Ades down. Is this going to be typical now in the retail sector? Is this the start of
the honeymoon's over, basically, Dave, for the online sales? That's what it looks like, right? So the online sales slowed significantly from the previous period. Of course, we had the COVID where everyone's at home buying things online, which is fair enough. You know, everyone stocked up on toilet paper, everyone stocked up on all sorts of different things. But you know, there's so much you can do to stock up. Things are starting to open up. People are starting to wander around. So maybe there's a little bit else online buying from Ades. But I think that period of really strong performances are gone now for these players. So it's not just Ades. We've seen it with Dusk as well today. We've seen it with a number.
Yeah, candle sales going down.
Yep, that's right. So if you're in these sort of stories, you probably want to have a look at where to next. What other sectors are actually trending?
Wolf, ALK. Yeah, sort of holding up okay. Well, I think some of these gold stocks could hold up quite well. I mean, actually, the gold price didn't look too bad on the charts when I had a last look. So what's the news with
Look, the production was pretty good. And I think they upgraded it slightly. So from that point of view, another gold player that you should be watching and at least having your as part of your watch list. Because if they start trending, then you probably want to play it. And I suppose the extra bit in there, the bonus, as you might say, is the drilling at Boda, right? If they keep coming out with some really strong results, you never know. Alkane could transform themselves into a multi-billion-dollar company with his Boda thing.
Wolf, OCL, you want to talk a little about that one? It's one of your favorite stocks, but it's sort of just, we want to see this really back above 1750 by the end of the week to feel comfortable with it for if you're short term. But what's your take on OCL?
I had a little stoush with, I think, the regulator in New Zealand, right? They bought a company back 2020, I think, what they said from the announcement, and they finally settled on the with the regulator. And I think they've asked. I think they've been. There's probably going to be payout of about $1.5 million, which is just a drop in the ocean, really. And $1.5, I'll take it if that's the settlement. It's not too bad. So I think that's put to bed. It should give a bit more clarity to the investors out there. Let's move on.
Wolf, lastly but not least, ASM. So Koreans looking excited, maybe happy with it so far, and I suppose everyone's seeing what sort of deal they can make now with the Koreans.
Yeah, look, this project is definitely one of the better ones around, but it needs over $1 billion in development, right? So that's the biggest hurdle for these guys. They need to find someone with the pockets, partnership, whoever they can beg and get some money off, do it, because the rare earth space is absolutely hot. So they've had Koreans sort of going hand in hand with them, trying to work out whether they're happy with it. So I think today's announcement said, yeah, it looks like they concluded the due diligence, successfully. So the next step would be from the Koreans is to maybe come up with some sort of funding deal. We'll see. Look, if they can get the next step is the crucial bit. If they can get this funding deal from from at least part from Koreans, then maybe it will start the ball rolling, I suppose, and everyone else will come on board, and then we're going to have the next rare earths miner in Australia. We imagine that, Dave, 2 Aussie rare earths miners that are global.
Yeah,
amazing. So anyway, want to put on your watch list again. If we see their share price moving before any announcement, we're probably thinking that there might be something going positively. So we've got to probably jump on.
All right, Wolf. Listen, thank you very much for that, and I suppose the most important thing is everyone just sort of hopefully you got some cash and just don't panic, right? So very, very normal. Get these little pullbacks, and the markets can be tough for for a while, maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever. But we'll pick it. It's an opportunity. Just leave it to us, and we'll hopefully try and pick you some good stories over this period of time.
Agreed.
On that note, Wolf, hasta mañana.
Yes, I was going to say enjoy your week, but maybe it's not going to be so enjoyable. But anyway,
no.
Stay calm and relaxed.
It's all right. I told the Facebook guys to go and play golf, so I think they're okay. All right, see you, Wolf.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.